We are about 24 hours away from getting probably the most important live stream development update for an Ashes of Creation phase since the alpha came out. The long awaited economy update is finally here, and they're gonna be going over a lot, which should get us right in preparation for phase 3. Also, don't forget, I'm live right now on Twitch doing a charity birthday stream for the American Kidney Fund, where you can win an Alpha 2 key. Come through. With the economy update, I think honestly it's gonna do a lot more for us than we actually think. So we've talked about this before in terms of Ashes of Creation having its ups and downs, and I think this is probably the biggest low we've been in since, to be completely honest with you. I think phase 1, we had a great time, right? It was limited testing. So obviously the really bad things we had focused on, I think there were a lot of really good moments during phase 1, obviously because the world was so new to us, right? And we're taking it in. Phase 2 was just an extension of that, right? So here, honestly, dude, this is the third time in a row that these guys are at this, and I don't even know if we can like even focus on this anymore. I think Intrepid actually wants this in the game. I'm not upset at it. Keep my boys in the game. Let's go to another node and see if they're acting like this. But here's the thing. I think that, and I've said this before, I think number one, I'm glad that the economy update is getting its own stream, 1000%. This is literally like Ashes 2.0, or that's kind of what it feels like. Again, I don't think many people are saying Ashes is bad at the moment. You know what I'm saying? I think that it's just, there are things that we want to see change, and I think Intrepid has heard that, and again, going on with the economy update. So let's see what's going to be worked on during the stream. Join us as we discuss upcoming changes to our plans leading up to phase 3 and new content coming to phase 3, including new starting area, node, PvP, and guild system updates, and the econ and stat revamp. Yeah, I think that's huge. And again, I've said this before, but I think Ashes is going to change as we know it. We've been playing Ashes a certain way since October 2024. I think the stat revamp is actually going to be a sleeper because that's genuinely going to change how we're gearing, what we want, our optimization for our characters, all that good stuff. So I am really excited for that. I went back and I rewatched the May live stream development update, the econ segment, and they were talking about how hundreds of recipes, hundreds of gatherables, all of these things are being changed or being worked on. So I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not even sure what to expect. I think that they're treating this live stream again like a small, what is the way to say it, like a small reboot, if you would. We're getting a new starting area. I'm telling you, I think phase 3 is really going to be lit. I genuinely do. I think phase 2.5 has been the worst, hands down. I don't see how there's any debating that, and that's not a terrible thing, but I think this is where we are. Where can we go from here? But dude, they're coming in swinging. We're getting a new starting area. That's going to be dope. People have been talking about PvP for a very long time. Each phase, it's always been something. So I'm looking forward to seeing the changes that happens there. And guild system updates. I remember when the guild upgrades came out and people were like, yo, this is crazy, you know, yada, yada, yada. I haven't worked on them. So usually before we get a live stream development update, I'm like, oh, this is what I want to see. This is what I want to see. I am interested in how the spawn rates are going to change. I am curious to know how all of that is going to work out. And we have the gatherables, the spawn rates, recipes, and more. I'm curious to know how this is going to keep us hooked in, right? Because I think like this update, it's not just something where it's like, okay, we're updating this and now you can kind of go on about your way. This is something that we're going to be interacting with all of the time. And this is why I say it literally is almost like a revamp, you know, a revamp, a rebrand, however you want to look at it. I do think it is pretty serious. With the drops, I know at one point that was a thing and people weren't happy about that. But the changes that they're making, are they going to want to cause us to be more immersed in the game, or is it just going to be kind of like a, yeah, this is good, we'll see where we go from here? Because if they're doing a huge revamp right now and it's not what we expect, how long would it be until we get another revamp? And I don't think that's what they want. And I also briefly want to touch on them releasing this. They had said during the live stream that they don't want to give dates, which I think is very smart. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think this is something that we need before phase 3. Genuinely. I do not think this is something that we need right before phase 3. I think that, bro, it's the end of the month. We have 4 or 5 weeks until phase 3. I don't think we need it right this second. If they want to go crazy with it and they're like, oh, hey, you know, we're shadow dropping it, or this is a live stream and we're dropping it next week, go crazy. I think the general consensus of phase 2.5 is that it's been rough, so I'm waiting to phase 3. But at the same time, if they're looking for feedback in terms of testing it, they might want to launch it during 2.5 because there still is an active player base. You get what I'm saying? So I think that's something that we need to be considered as well. Personally, I'm not upset if they wait to phase 3 to launch it. I think that if they can take as much time as they need to get it right, have it be cooked, and let it come out alongside phase 3. I personally think if they treat phase 3 like a true launch of the alpha, and I know some people say that, they're like, oh, phase 3 is actually the true alpha that Intrepid wanted. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I think there's some truth to it, but I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, because at the same time, I do think that there were some things that they did want to test during phase 1, right? And we did those things in small increments. So I think there are pros and cons, but to say that phase 3 is going to be the true alpha, again, I do think there is some truth to that, but that's just me. I personally am at the point where it's like, look, I'm not upset if you guys want to take more time and work on this. I think the economy update is something a lot of people have been waiting for, and I think that if it's so unfortunate, because I think that the slightest thing, if it's not done correctly or however you deem correct to be, it's going to cause controversy. But Steven has said something that does interest me. I think this is indicative of the natural pains of open development. We can show what we're working on, talk about how it is under development and unfinished and a work in progress. And 20% will hear that, 80% won't care what you say or how you say it, but will expect it at entrance in A2. And I think that right there is a bar. Truly, the people that are watching the Ashes of Creation live stream development updates, the people that are playing right now hardcore, the people that are just really involved in the Discord, all of that stuff, bro, we're like the 1 to like 5% of players. I know some people don't want to hear it, but I do think that is a bar. I think a lot of people will forget or not be mindful of what's happening in the development cycle, and they just want to see a great product. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's kind of where we've been back and forth with well, it's open development. Well, like, what's the communication looking like? I think that as long as they can hit the nail on the head in this live stream with this economy update, and I don't even necessarily think it's give people what they're looking for, but I think if we can just keep taking steps in the right direction, people will be happy. If they can prepare a proper phase 3 with something like the economy update, right, and these other changes, we know the summoner is coming, I think it can be the best phase, and I think it should be, right, just naturally 1, 2, 2.5, 3. I do think it could be the best phase by far, and I think the economy live stream development update is going to be essentially the roadmap to that. I also will say too that I think I've talked about the live streams, and it's like, oh, well, you know, I personally don't want to see a lot of arbitrary gameplay. I think this is going to be a very informative stream. A very informative stream. I think it's at the point where they've heard a lot of feedback. They see how people are feeling. They're going to be addressing it in this. I really do think this June live stream is going to be good. I do. I thought the May live stream development update was great, but I do think this one is going to be better. And I feel like, honestly, these past 2 months, they've been all right. That's if the economy stream hits, and I'm sure it's going to. But I really do think that this economy update is something that can shock the community. I really do. We've talked about it. They've been gassed for it, and I think they have to put their money where their mouth is here. If they don't hit this and bring some hype or love back, I think it could be not detrimental, but I do think it could have a negative impact. Personally, I just think we're in a really rough spot, but I don't see how the economy update doesn't bring anything positive, to be quite truthful with you. I think it's going to be a really good revamp, and I think Ashes of Creation needs it, especially going into phase 3. I think phase 3 is going to be like the moment of all of the phases, right? So I think they just gotta lock in and get it right. What are your thoughts though on what you want to see for the economy update, and what do you think we're gonna get? How do you think it's gonna affect Ashes? Let your boy know in the comment section below. Like I said earlier, I am live right now on Twitch and YouTube, where you can win an Alpha 2 key. We're raising money for the American Kidney Fund, and it's my birthday tomorrow on the economy live stream update, so it better be good.